That costs almost nothing, but it allows them to command a premium that's equal to hotels that have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars more to be amazing. So the next thing is to also find out what your customers are thinking. There is a fantastic book written by the Disney Institute that I highly recommend that everybody read. It's called Be Our Guest. Disney is known as the happiest place on earth. So where else would you look for motivation for customer experience? They say, ask how do customers feel before, during, and after. What are the actual feelings the customers are having? And then what are the demographic and psychographic profile stereotypes? That's avatars. In the SaaS world, we call them ICPs, or ideal customer profiles. Who is not doing business with you that should be? Okay, not doing business. So like the answer wouldn't be the homeless because we might not want them. But who's not doing business with you? What emotions are happening? And then how do you create micro wows that lead to mega wows? And there's a hotel in Los Angeles, California, that is a updated but not very well hotel that was built in the 70s, the early 1970s. And it's basically what we call a motel, meaning that it's a kind of so-so flat pool in a courtyard surrounded by some rooms. And it's called the Magic Castle. The Magic Castle, if you go to it, do you guys know it? Yeah, the Magic Castle is reviewed ridiculously well, and it sells at the prices of much more premium hotels on the room night. But it has actually built a mega wow and some micro wows. One of the micro wows is that you can get your laundry done for free, which costs them approximately nothing to do. And then they return the laundry in a brown wax paper tied with a string with a sprig of lavender in it. Okay? They also, if you're there at the pool or in the room, they'll give you free Kit Kats, which everybody wants. So that's really how you have a better customer experience. Just give Kit Kats. No. They give Kit Kats and other snacks, and they don't charge that. But those are just micro wows. The big mega wow is that at the pool, they have a bright red phone that is the popsicle hotline. And if you want a popsicle at any time of day while at the pool, you can simply walk over to the hotline, pick it up, and someone will say, "Popsicle hotline," and they'll bring you out popsicles. They'll bring it out dressed very nicely on a silver tray with a gloved hand and deliver it to you. That costs almost nothing, but it allows them to command a premium that's equal to hotels that have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars more to be amazing, right? And they're reviewed as well or better than many of those hotels. So that's just, to me, one example of how you can do this. So I highly recommend that book. And Disney has 7 service guidelines. This is the actual card that they give to you if you go to work at Disney. And if you think about it, these are good things to keep in mind. And even if you're selling online, making eye contact and smiling, if you're selling online, do you have the ability, and I've seen a few companies do this effectively, to have a live video chat with someone at the company? Because if you do, then you can have that chat. You can also think to tell your people to stare into the camera, not look at the screen, but stare in the camera when they're talking, which creates eye contact. And whether you're on the phone or not, all kinds of research shows that if you smile while you're talking on the phone, even if the other person can't see you, you come across as happier, right? Greet and welcome each and every guest. There's just so many times that we answer and say customer service. We might know who's calling, or we might not know who's on the chat, but we don't say, "Hi, Mary, it's so good to see you," right? "How are you?" This is stupid, simple stuff, but it all contributes to customer experience. Seeking out guest contact is also another thing. Actually, just not trying to only talk to them when they're a problem, but seeking out the contact, providing immediate service recovery when things do not go as planned, displaying appropriate language at all times, preserving the magical guest experience, and thanking everyone. And I think that's a really cool thing to share with your staff, particularly your customer service staff, because it does actually make a difference. I can't tell you how many I bought at a BMW dealership one time. I bought 3 cars as Christmas presents for family members. 3 BMWs, and got giant bows and put on them, and then took them to their houses and left them out the night before. I never got a thank you from the dealership. Never. And I think if you buy 3 cars in one sitting, you should at least get a thank you, right? Then find out what the customers are actually saying and thinking. And there's 14 different ways to do that. I won't read them all to you, but just know that there's so many ways for you to get information about your customers and what they're thinking. You really want to implement these things. Now, when I talked earlier in strategy about having feedback, so doing that primary research is really critical. Reach out to 50 of your customers, and get this feedback analysis. I call it Fab 50 because there's 50 customers, and Fab is feelings, actions, and beliefs. You want to know what is their feedback throughout the customer experience, and what are they feeling, what actions are they taking, and what do they believe. What that looks like when you go through this process will be, they might say, I buy most of my products online. Well, you know that means they're buying this type of product online. But they might say, I think prices are better. That's a belief, right? They're believing that, and that's going to affect how you interact. Here's one that will definitely affect that. I ask friends for recommendations. That's an action that they're getting recommendations for friends before they make a purchase, which can logically lead you to conclude that they also read reviews, which means that reviews are very important to your product, right? I'm nervous if it's not Amazon. That means if you're not selling, or they might say, I'm nervous if it's a site I'm not familiar with. That means if you're not selling on Amazon, we talked about this, right? You're missing out on a lot of sales. I mentioned Beachbody. They were missing out on about 80 million pounds of sales per year simply, and that was just in year 1. Now it's up in the hundreds. But that's just like, it's another place that they can feel safe, right? Or they can buy with one click because all their information is already in there. There's over 100 million installed apps of Amazon app that people can buy on with one click. So not being in that could be costing you. I compare prices not to overpay, so you know they believe that they need to compare prices first, so that might tell you that you need to show up on comparison sites, because there's all kinds of comparison engine sites that people use. And so you just go through here. They might say, I always look for coupon codes, but you're not offering them. That might tell you might want to test, and everything is test, but you might want to test offering coupon codes, or I won't pay for shipping. Are you currently offering free shipping? Because if you're not, Amazon is really taking business from you.